right knee. It's another one where it's pretty much if that's why I don't run anymore, is I'll get a pain in it's the outside of it, kind of in between the, feels like it's in there, at the joint behind the kneecap kind of thing.
Was there an injury or?
There was never a specific injury. When I was a teenager, I used to, for a few years, I was in my early 20s, would get a pain there every time I ran.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always been there. And then I'd say in my mid-20s, it just kind of went away, and those are the years I was jogging, and I would jog, 5 miles at a time, 7 miles, or anything more than that, but I didn't really have an issue with it.
Okay.
At the same time, I never really got over that mark, more because of a general soreness than because of stamina.
Okay.
The knees being the weak one.
Yeah, there was never any specific injury or trauma
No.
to it. And how often do you have the knee pain now?
Now, every 2 weeks or so, feel it.
How long is it?
Anytime I run too far, I'm good for short distances.
Mhm.
But if I push things or were to jump into running or something like that, I would certainly feel.
How long does it last when you have the pain? Sorry.
It'll last, if it happens, a couple days.
And what does the pain feel like?
More of a kind of a sharp pain, pinching pain in between the bones there.
And what other factors seem to make it better or worse?
I don't think anything makes it, or there's nothing I know of to make it feel better. It's kind of there.
Mm-hmm.
And what makes it worse is just too much, either too much running or really pushing it, or just kind of happens.
Right. Would too much walking aggravate it?
No, it's the walking doesn't really bother it.
Okay. Is there a time of day or night, if it's bothering you, that it would be consistently worse?
Not that I recall, no.
How about weather?
Yeah, sometimes the damp weather will make it hurt a little bit. Bring it on.
Cold or hot weather make a difference?
No.
Pressure, touch, rubbing?
Not really, no.
Just generally being in motion versus being still, like sitting for a long time versus walking around?
No, it's more, I think it's more of a high intensity thing.
Okay. And you mentioned your spine separate from the back. Is that something different?
It's more, I'd say the pain happens at once. It kind of starts under the left shoulder blade, and then the left side of my spine, and then kind of the lower part of my
Okay. So that goes along. It's
my
more
lower back.
and that's more the left side.
Yeah, it's all on the left side.
Yeah. Okay. And the elbow, does that bother you much these days?
Yeah, it's there, but it's a lot less than it was a few years ago.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And this is okay. Was there an injury, a specific injury or a cause for it to start it?
I think the cause was I used to do a lot of Excel spreadsheets at work, and I used to click a lot with the mouse, and that would really exacerbate it for a while. So that was, I don't do as much with that anymore. I have a touchpad now, so I don't have to click like I used to.
And how about the major factors that make that pain better or worse, other than computer work or not?
That one I tend to crack it a lot. I'll kind of do this and make it pop.
Okay.
And then, rubbing it helps. I'll do that.
Okay. Anything else? Does the weather affect it?
That one, it kind of feels like the weather maybe affects it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. In the same way, the wet weather, or something different?
Yeah, just slightly. I mean, it's a much smaller pain now than it used to be.
Okay.
It's just more of a discomfort, I would say.
Mm-hmm. And as far as the weather, is it, you're not sure if it was before it rains, during the rain, after it's rained? Not really sure.
Can't really say.
Yeah, okay. And anything else you can think of on the elbow?
No, sometimes I'll do wrist curls at the gym, and that also tends to alleviate the soreness.
Okay. Time of day or night?
It's usually, I'd say in the afternoon. Days like today where I've been at the computer doing things, typing.
What if you're not working? Like if you're on vacation or it's a weekend, you're not working, is it still that same?
I wouldn't say it's directly, if I use a computer, it hurts, because sometimes it will hurt on the weekend.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, if you're not working, you're not doing like computer work, will it tend to be worse also in the afternoon? Or is that only when you're working on the computer?
I wouldn't say it's directly related to that. I mean, some days
To the time.
I'll feel, I'll be doing something, doing a lot.
It's not
of
consistently
computer work.
worse in the afternoon, regardless of what you're doing.
Right.
Okay. It's more a function of what you're doing
Yes.
than the time. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna just ask you some more general questions. Some people tend to run really warm all the time. Other people tend to always be chilly. How would you describe yourself in terms of body temperature?
I would say it's on the warm side.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to sweat easily, I'd say, in the summer.
Mm-hmm. What temperature do you prefer to be inside, if money or other people were not a factor in terms of the temperature?
I usually keep it colder, 65 or so.
Okay. And what's your ideal temperature outside?
I don't know.
What's like a perfect day?
Perfect? Perfect day. I'd say probably around 80, 85.
At what point does it become uncomfortably warm? Typical kind of Chicago humidity in that.
Well, it is extra humid here.
Yeah.
But I'd say I'm good until the 90s. I don't so much mind when it's hot out.
Okay. And how about in the winter? At what point does it become uncomfortably cold for you?
They're freezing,
Mhm.
30, yeah, low 30s.
Okay. Would you say you're more sensitive to the heat of the summer or the cold of the winter, one or the other?
I would say I'm more sensitive to the cold in the winter.
And when you're inside, if it's not 65, if it's more like room temperature, like 70, is that uncomfortable for you? Does it get stuffy?
Not so much.
Do you feel like you're sensitive to a room being warm? Like, do you tend to need windows open and fans on, those kinds of things?
Yes.
More than most people, you think?
Yeah, I don't like it when it's too either warmer or indoors. If I can have it colder, usually.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I turned on the heat maybe once so far this fall.
Mm-hmm. If you're in a room with a group of people, do you feel like, typically if there's, a few people in a room, there's always someone who feels like it's warm, they need to open a window, turn on the air. Would that be you, or would you not be?
No.
Not really bothered by that so much?
Not so much, no.
Okay. When you're sleeping, do you tend to sleep with the window open, or do you prefer that?
No, only because where I live and the window's open.
Okay.
It's an apartment.
If you were in more like in the country or
Yeah.
outside of the city?
If I were, yeah, I'd sleep with the windows open.
Yeah. Down to what temperature would you say?
Probably 60s, mid-60s.
Okay. So if it's in the winter, you're going to close your window?
Yes.
And you said you sweat easily. Would you have to be exercising, or just if it gets?
No, just if it gets really hot or once I start sweating, I tend to not be able to stop so quickly.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And any particular, like all over, or certain parts of your body?
Forehead. The
Forehead.
head for the most part.
Anything else unusual about your perspiration? Does it tend to have a strong odor or anything unusual?
No.
And you said your sleep isn't not so good?
Yes, I have a lot of trouble sleeping.
Is it falling asleep or staying asleep?
Falling asleep
Mhm.
and then staying asleep.